I'm live. All right. So we all know from what was it, Karate Kid Part Two? Maybe it was Karate Kid 3. You know, the best defense is don't be there, don't get hit. All right. Well, if you're standing there and something's coming at you like this, you want to defend yourself with a shield. But not one of these shields, actually. These shields are a little bit expensive to have things swinging at them. Let's talk about these. So, quick overview. Two things going on with these. One is the paint job is by Indi Martin. It's hand painted custom, signed on the back. And the other thing is that the shield itself is made to contribute as much as possible. Second. So that's the quick dive. We have these on caveloot.com. The two that I'm going to show here are both available for sale. With them being original artwork, they are $500 each. And then we can also do custom pieces. But let's dive into a couple of different things. First, Indi Martin. Who is Indi Martin if you're not familiar with Indi Martin? Indi Martin is an artist, obviously. She's also a self-published author. She's published some games. She does comic books. She does graphic novels. And, of course, artwork. She also does covers for various gaming books. She's participated in a lot of different Kickstarter projects in which artwork is required of some sort. She's helped with Kickstarter projects. So she's a very creative individual. She's a starving artist out there making a living, selling her art at conventions, to companies, and so forth. And this is a project that caveloot.com is working with her on, in which she will be painting this artwork custom for the customers that contact us that want these pieces. Okay, so now that you know a little bit more about Indi Martin, let's talk about these shields. The shields themselves are made by Jivax Azon. And for caveloot.com, he makes a lot of different products. If you visit caveloot.com, he makes our PVC bows. He makes our crystal replica crystal. They're actually made out of acrylic swords and daggers. He makes a version of this, which I'll talk about a little bit more, that can be purchased as the LARP shield. And it has a strap on the back for putting in it, and it does not come custom painted. And then just so that it's safer, it has some a foam wrap going around the edges. Let's talk a little bit more about how the shield's made. Okay, so back in the day, whenever you're talking that they made wooden shields. Okay, when they did their shields out of wood, they took two pieces of wood. You will not be able to see that there's two pieces of wood because the grains sort of match up. But two pieces of wood, and those two pieces of wood were adhesive together, and then this was put into a framework to create the bend and then stay there while it cured, and the adhesive dried, and then you involved was so that when a weapon hit it, instead of having a flat the blow shatter the arm, you feel kind of it so that it hits it skid. That's what they call a deflecting blow. That's what you were trying to do when you used your shield. You were trying to bring your shield up to the side and so that it would glance off the shield rather than taking all that impact and destroying your shield quickly as well as your arm. Okay. Now, keeping in mind, these are wood with swords swinging at them, so these shields are pretty durable. And in fact, I don't know how durable, but I believe the maker said he was jumping up and down on one of them and it wasn't really doing any damage. The other thing they did is measurements. How did they decide what size to make these? Well, a lot of times it was custom to the individual, and they would measure from shoulder to shoulder, and then from the top of that down to above, right above your sternum. And these you will find should, for most people, be pretty close to those measurements. They're made using those measurements from our maker, because obviously these aren't custom person to person. Could we do that? Probably not. It's doable, but it would be very expensive because we have to. The maker has to set up a whole new framework. Once it's set in place, he can reuse it to, the sizing set up to just keep making them. But to alter that could create a lot of problems. But I think you'll find that they're pretty good for most people. They're, it's about a little over my shoulder. He's a little bit broader. And then height-wise, it's about right for me. He's a little shorter, but it must be a leg thing or something. Because height-wise, I'm right at the sternum, coming up to right underneath my chin there, protecting my neck a little bit. Okay, so the big difference, of course, is that the adhesive he's using is modern adhesive, which is much, much stronger than the adhesives they used back then. So really, these are slightly improved in that way. These can be done as a painted version, in addition to the LARP version that I sell, with Indi Martin's artwork, with a strap on the back. These were done with hanging in mind, displaying in the house. I will have some photos up on the caveloot.com website. In the custom area, it will be custom Indi Martin painted shield or something like that, that will show these on display. I put them up on a nice display in my house on a table to kind of show how they could be displayed. And it looks really nice, and I'll share some of those photos. So they were made with that in mind, or, just taking them, putting a couple hooks in the back, a little piece of wire, typical picture hook, and you hang it. Thing that you might be thinking, man, that's a big shield. These things are extreme. Keeping in mind, you had to carry this thing around, so it couldn't be heavy. And a lot of people think shields were always metal. Well, think about carrying around a huge, heavy, 50-pound piece of metal all, in combat all day long. It didn't always work. Maybe for short little battles, but the wooden shield, a lot of protection, but yet at the same time, without sacrificing a lot of that mobility and not making a lot to carry it around. So these are very light, and you'll have no problem hanging this with the standard picture frame as long as you follow your directions, use a wall line, that sort of thing. But if you want one of these done up to use for cosplay, LARPing, please don't tell me, because I don't take any system by Indi Martin and actually going out and having it hit. But if you want one for LARPing, for costume use, that you want done, that's, concept artwork that you want done where you're able to carry this around like this and, actually use it, so to speak, as a shield to go with your costume, that can be done. We can add strapping to the back that is so strong you could probably put the shield down, stand on the shield, grab the strapping and pull, and the wood will start ripping apart before the strap will come off. So, extremely, extremely durable strapping that you don't have to worry about breaking or anything like that. And also nice and tight, not cutting off circulation or anything like that, but, snug so that the shield's not moving around. So that can be done. It's a little bit of an upcharge. It has to be done before the shields are actually painted. We don't want to try putting this down on a surface, it's sliding around, getting scratched up while we're doing the process to mount straps on the back. So this is something that has to be provided in the custom quote. We would ask the question, do you want a strap? Or you'd let us know. It's not real expensive add-on. Okay, so we talk about all that a little bit. See, the paint job on this is so good, and you're not going to be able to see it. I should bring this up, and I'll bring the other one up closer too. The paint job on this is so good, and you won't see this in the video, but as I was sitting here looking at kind of this area here, for a moment, I thought the shield was dented in. And I'm like, how did that happen? Because I haven't damaged these things, and they were all right when I got them. And it's not. It just, it's fine. It has to be the right angle, but at the right angle, the paint job's so good that, I almost had a little bit of the 3D depth going on there. And this is a beautiful, beautiful tiger's head. If you've seen the a movie Mandy with Nicolas Cage, I was watching that just, I don't know, last week, I think it was real recent. And fairly quickly in the movie, he's wearing a t-shirt with a tiger's head that looks very similar to the sun. And I'm like, oh, it's a lot like the shield. It's a lot like the shield. A coincidence. Tiger head like that is a very common concept art, but it was like, oh yeah, and I think they had a tiger somewhere else. There's like reappearing tiger in Mandy a couple of times, but his t-shirt matched that real well. Okay, so talking about the artwork on this, when Indi paints them, you got to remember these are wood. And as such, it's prone to soak things up. You know, that's why we have to protect our wood outside and coat it with different varnishes and water seals and so forth, because the wood will soak it up and rot. So that same principle, not the rotting principle applies, but the soaking up principle applies to when she paints these. And, you know, she's using acrylics, which of course acrylics are, you know, can be a fairly expensive paint medium to purchase. It's definitely a lot more expensive than paint shop if you've already paid for a license and have that on a computer you already paid for. Going out and buying. And the wood likes to soak that acrylic up. As not only is it requiring a lot more paint, but she's having to paint over the same area multiples of time, building up layers to get a nice thick coat and get that. So that's part of what applies to the price on these shields. They might be a little bit more than, you know, your typical canvas piece that she does because of that. All right, so the other thing is she did these, the concept, the primary thing that we're working on with these is the idea behind them is heraldry. You know, you think of shields, you think of, you know, the king or the knight out in battle with his plate suit of armor on. You know, he's going out there, he's got his big old shield, and what has he got? He's got his house heraldry on it. Maybe it's just the charge, maybe it's part of the heraldry, but some sort of that relates to his heraldry. A charge for you that don't know would be, in this case, the charge is the star. In this case, the charge is the tiger's head. And if you had other symbolism and stuff around that, that would still be the charge, the main character, the main symbol. So that's the primary concept, is that people are going to want these for heraldry. But it's definitely not limited to that. If you wanted to do these with a business graphic, a game group logo, you know, obviously we're in a game room when I'm doing this, so, you know, I could see doing you know, putting together a logo with my fellow gamers and getting one of these done with the game group logo, and, you know, then putting it up on the wall. And since it is original art by an artist, hopefully it's an investment that's going to increase with value over time, as art, you know, we hope art always does. You could do characters on it. If you wanted to do a character portrait on it of some sort, you know, you could do a flag, turn it red, white, and blue with stars. So, you know, there's all kinds of things you could do to get these custom, keeping in mind that the more detail that goes into it, the more time, the more work, the more it's going to cost with any sort of painting. Now, these are retailing at $500 each, as I indicated on caveloot.com. You can go to our Etsy store or our eBay store, and they're on both of those stores at $550 each. The higher prices to cover all the associated fees with running these on those platforms. So your best bet would be to get them right from caveloot.com if you're interested, or drop me a note. You know, at caveloot.com, there's a form for contacting me. Use that, and I can talk to you. But if you're wanting a custom version done, that's what you want to do. You want to go out to caveloot.com, use that form, contact me. If you want to go ahead and let me know a little info off the bat, great. If you just want to say, I want to talk shields, then I'll feed you questions to get the info I need from you. If you know what you want, hey, I want this and I want that, and shoot it all to me. I'll work on it with my compatriots, and we'll see what we can do. We'll come back and let you know if anything was unrealistic. Otherwise, we'll have a quote for you. Lead time on these can be a couple of months if you're getting one done custom, simply because, you know, she has to paint it. So I think that should cover everything on these. If you have any questions, definitely give me a call, or drop me an email on the website, and I will tried my best to answer those for you. We're pretty excited about these products. I'm happy with, you know, as the owner of caveloot.com, to be carrying some art, basically being an art dealer. That's a very nice addition for the company. We have some other ideas and things we might do with these shields in the future. You can get them blank if you're interested in just getting them blank. I don't have any in stock at the moment. My maker's been rather busy with some other things, so it's kind of been, hey, I got to have this right now. I'll get it. Otherwise, it's we haven't been working on stock too much at the moment. But you can get them blank just like this. You could get them blank with a strap. You can get them painted one color with the strap and the foam around it. Those run $60. That's what we call the LARP shield. people buy them. They really like them. People that come by my booths when I've been at conventions see them at my booth. And, you know, initially we're kind of thinking, man, $60 is almost like entry line. You can get a LARP shield. This one here, I think, runs more like 85, 90 because it has some decoration going on. Okay. But you know, it's got good solid straps, and it's a LARP shield. It's made by a major LARP manufacturer. But like I said, I think this is about $85. They discontinued it. I don't think they make it anymore. I could be wrong on that. So you know, you might think, man, $60 for a wooden shield, and then I could go get the. But I tell you what, people realize that first of all, this is heavy. Even though it's foam, it's like, wow, hour of that, my arm's going to be dead. That all day, no problem. The other thing going on with it, in addition to being heavy, is it's foam. It's, you know, more likely to get chipped up, scratched up, and damaged. Whereas a shield that's painted blue, it gets scratched up. You're not going to do much more damage to that unless you're getting crazy stupid with it. At which point you just touch up the paint. So, you know, there's some perks going on with one of these as a LARP shield. If you're a LARPer, you might want to consider that, keeping in mind that it might not be legitimate for some LARP groups. Even though it has full foam all around the edges and you're going to be hard-pressed to hurt someone with that, some of the LARP groups won't allow that because you have this curvature piece out here that could be hit. You could hit someone with it. Personally, my feeling on it is if you're out there hitting anyone with any kind of shield, including that one, you don't belong out there and you're going to get kicked. That because a shield is to deflect. Yes, you can make attacks with your shield, but you know they should be just kind of, you know, you're making the movements, and you shouldn't be getting crazy smacking someone in the face with a shield. I don't care what it's made out of. So that just comes, you know, the what do they call it? Approving people to the group, you know, making sure people use things properly. There's got to be a certain level of that. But regardless, even if your LARP group doesn't allow it, it makes a nice shield for cosplay. It makes a nice shield for conventions. It makes a nice practice piece. You might not be able to take it to your big events, but hey, when you're doing some practice with some of your friends, using that for 3 or 4 hours for practice versus using one of those foam shields that you'll be using at your actual LARP group is going to save your arm a lot of wear and tear, you know, so it makes a great practice piece. So there's a lot of benefits and advantages to it, whether you're looking at the plain ones or all the way up to these magnificent ones. Again, I don't know how well the camera, I think the camera's getting it. You can see that it glints. You can see the light rolling off of that. It's got a really nice sheen. Both of them have a very nice gloss finish like that. They're just magnificent. So I will let you go with that, and I look forward to your questions and your custom orders. Thank you very much, everyone, and more projects coming from Cave Loot soon.